AEW President Tony Khan announces the full lineup, rules, and dates for the inaugural AEW Continental Classic Tournament. We'll let you know the different groups, the different rules, the different participants, all that kind of stuff, and much more. The Young Bucks reportedly are going to miss tonight's AEW Dynamite on TBS. We'll let you know why. Speaking of the Young Bucks, they found some interesting trademarks amid their ongoing AEW heel turn. Survivor Series reportedly will be a sellout at the Allstate Arena in Chicago, Illinois. It will be the highest attendance ever for a WWE show in that building, more than WrestleMania 22. Triple H talks about the advice that Vince McMahon has given him regarding creative in WWE, and Randy Orton has new merchandise ahead of his WWE return. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. And let's start off talking about the AEW Continental Classic, because finally, everything for now has been unveiled. Now, as announced earlier this month by AEW President Tony Khan, as well as Bryan Danielson, the first ever AEW Continental Classic tournament is set to kick off on tonight's AEW Dynamite. Now, ahead of the round-robin tournament's beginning, Khan and Tony Schiavone unveiled the full lineup featuring the Blue and Gold League. Now, we can actually get into all of the participants, all of the rules, all of the venues as well. Let's get straight into this, starting off with, as I mentioned, the Continental Classic, the inaugural version of this tournament, a round-robin tournament similar to, I guess, New Japan Pro Wrestling's G1 Climax tournament, AEW's version of that. Let's start off with the locations and the dates. Of course, it is going to be starting tonight, live on AEW Dynamite in Chicago, Illinois, that being November 22nd. It will continue on AEW Rampage and Collision in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on November 25. This will continue into week 2, which will be as part of AEW Dynamite and Rampage in Minneapolis, Minnesota on November 29. It will then be on Erie, Pennsylvania's AEW Collision on December the 2nd. Week 3 will be in both in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, for Collision on December the 5th, and then on AEW Dynamite and Rampage on December the 6th. Week 4 will take place in Texas as AEW Dynamite and AEW Rampage take place in Arlington, Texas on December 13, as well as AEW Collision taking place in Garland, Texas on December 16. Week 5 will take place in Oklahoma City in Oklahoma as AEW Dynamite and Rampage takes place on December the 20th. And then we'll have San Antonio, Texas's AEW Collision on December the 23rd. Next, we have Week 6, which will feature the finals. It will be finals week. It will be taking place in Orlando, Florida on December 27 as AEW Dynamite and AEW Rampage. That taping determines the winners of the respective groups, which will go on to the championship final at the latest AEW pay-per-view. That is AEW World's End, taking place on Long Island in New York on December 30. Now, speaking of the groups, as I mentioned, we're going to be having the Gold League as well as the Blue League. Let's get into the Gold League first. It's going to consist of 6 participants in each league. The first league, the Gold League, will feature none other than Jon Moxley. It will also feature Swerve Strickland, coming fresh off his victory in the Texas Death Match at AEW Full Gear against Hangman Adam Page. The next participant is none other than Roosh, who has been very impressive on Collision in recent weeks. We will then also see Mark Briscoe competing in the Continental Classic. We knew this was announced over the last week. He will be competing also in the Gold League. We then have former Ring of Honor World Champion Jay Lethal also competing in the Gold League as well. Finally, we have Switchblade Jay White competing in the Gold League, of course, a veteran of New Japan Pro Wrestling's G1 Climax tournament, so certainly he could possibly have an advantage when it comes to this tournament and this setting as well. So that's going to be the Gold League. Let's move over to the Blue League, and it's going to be topped by Bryan Danielson. Of course, he was the first participant in the AEW Continental Classic when it was announced on AEW Collision several weeks ago. Danielson returning to action after suffering a recent broken orbital bone injury. As of right now, he's yet to be cleared, but he will be competing in this tournament, and he will be competing in the Blue League. Now, the Blue League will also have Andrade El Idolo competing in it, which is certainly interesting because despite the storyline that suggests that actually it was Kazuchika Okada and or Orange Cassidy that caused Bryan Danielson's latest injury, it was actually in the match against Andrade El Idolo on a recent episode of AEW Collision where Bryan Danielson suffered his latest injury. So at some point, seemingly, they're going to have a rematch as part of the Continental Classic tournament. The next participant in the Blue League in the Continental Classic is none other than the House of Black's Brody King, who will be participating in this tournament as well. We've also got another Blackpool Combat Club member. This marks 3 in the tournament overall. Moxley in the Gold League, Bryan Danielson in the Blue League. They're going to be joined by the Blackpool Combat Club's Claudio Castagnoli, also competing in this tournament, fresh off his victory against Buddy Matthews at the AEW Full Gear 0 Hour pre-show. We also have Daniel Garcia competing in the tournament as well, competing in the Blue League too. Finally, it's also going to have Eddie Kingston involved in it. Of course, Eddie Kingston is very significant in this tournament when it comes to the winner, what the winner receives. Obviously, they're going to be receiving the Ring of Honor World Championship, the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship, and the AEW Continental Championship, all merged into one, consolidated into one Triple Crown Championship. We'll let you know more about that in just a second. Now, as far as the tournament rules, this was explained extensively by Tony Khan in the selection show. You can see it on the screen right there. Is a 20-minute time limit for all matches. 3 points for a victory, 1 point for a draw, similar to rules in European and world football. And also, this is a key thing that was stressed several times during today's explanation and selection program, is that everyone is banned from ringside. There is going to be no outside interference. There are going to be no managers, no seconds in the ring, just one-on-one with this 20-minute time limit, and obviously the most points are going to win their respective leagues. Now, this is quite a key part in all of this as well, because as I mentioned earlier on, we are going to be getting a new championship coming out of this tournament. And that championship is right there. You can see it in the middle. It wasn't actually revealed during this selection special today with Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone, but essentially what we are getting is the Ring of Honor World Championship, the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship being merged together with this new AEW Continental Championship. It's going to be defended across 3 companies, that being Ring of Honor, AEW, and New Japan Pro Wrestling, and it's going to be similar to the Triple Crown Championship as we've seen in All Japan Pro Wrestling as well. Now, as Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful pointed out during the selection special, it was said that, quote, to some extent, the Ring of Honor and Strong titles are on the line in every match, since there'll be a Triple Crown at the end, but it seems like the Ring of Honor / Strong titles aren't on the line in individual matches. This was a point of confusion for some people, because Eddie Kingston had said at AEW Full Gear, when he announced that not only he was going to be in the tournament, but his titles were going to be on the line, he said that they were going to be on the line in every match. That isn't necessarily the case, because Kingston could still lose matches in the tournament and still win it overall. So the point being is that it's not on the line in every match, it's just on the line overall, with the winner getting this new consolidated championship. Now, as far as the matches, they begin tonight live on AEW Dynamite. 3 Continental Classic tournament matches are taking place this evening. One being is Jon Moxley versus Mark Briscoe. Once again, that's going to be taking place in the Gold League. This is also going to be competing on the show with Swerve Strickland, fresh off that Texas Death match this weekend at Full Gear against Hangman Adam Page. So what condition he's in, we don't know just yet. But he's going to be facing off against Jay Lethal, also as part of the Gold League. And also tonight on AEW Dynamite, we're going to be getting Rouge versus Switchblade Jay White as they face off in the Gold League as well. Now, as far as the Blue League, well, their matches kick off this weekend, Saturday Night Live on AEW Collision on TNT. Speaking of Eddie Kingston, the reigning Ring of Honor World and New Japan Strong Openweight Champion will face off against Brody King in the first match in the Blue League on as part of the Continental Classic. And finally, we're also going to be getting Daniel Garcia versus Claudio Castagnoli. Once again, that's going to be taking place in the Blue League as well. The only people not participating in the Blue League so far, of course, are Bryan Danielson and his opponent too. So we're still waiting for that one, because I guess Danielson still yet hasn't been cleared. Now, as I mentioned, when it comes to the Continental Classic Tournament, it is set to crown the first ever inaugural AEW Continental Champion, with Eddie Kingston putting both the Ring of Honor World Championship and the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship on the line as well. During the media scrum following Full Gear, Khan clarified that the 3 titles will be united into one Triple Crown Championship to be defended in AEW, Ring of Honor, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. As I mentioned, we've gone through all the rules. There are additional rules in place that differentiate the bout from standard matches, with no people being at ringside and no interferences as well. But what do you think of the lineup? What do you think of the field? What do you think of the leagues? What do you think of the format? Is this something you're excited for? Are you tired about it? Do you not really care? Who do you think is going to win the respective leagues? Who do you think is going to win the Gold League? Who do you think is going to win the Blue League? And who do you think ultimately is going to win the whole thing and become the Continental Champion at World's End at the end of the year? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments section below. Now, switching gears here and talking about AEW Dynamite tonight. Of course, we do know that obviously these Continental Classic matches are going to be taking place, but the Young Bucks, they're not going to be there. Of course, this has been part of their ongoing heel turn. We've seen in recent days that Brandon Cutler has been talking on behalf of the AEW World Tag Team Champions. He reportedly, he said that the Young Bucks were going to be taking a step away from AEW. He also said that the Bucks were taking a step away from being the Elite. And now he said ahead of Dynamite this evening, quotes, "I am being told the Young Bucks are not backstage this week at Dynamite," perhaps suggesting that they're going to be missing the show. Now, quite interestingly, when it comes to the Young Bucks, they filed two trademarks, a very curious trademarks as part of their ongoing heel turn. At Full Gear, the Golden Jets, Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho defeated the Young Bucks to win their AEW World Tag Team title shots. During the course of the bout, Matt and Nick Jackson delivered low blows to both men. Post-match, the Young Bucks snapped and destroyed the ringside area in frustration over the loss. As I mentioned, in the following days, Brandon Cutler revealed the Jackson brothers were taking time off and finishing up on their Being the Elite YouTube series. Per PW Insider, Killing the Business Inc., which is the Young Bucks company, filed for trademarks on KTB Wrestling and Super Dick Party on November 21. For KTB Wrestling, the trademark talks about obviously hats, shirts, bandanas, shirts and short sleeve shirts, sweatshirts, hooded sweatshirts as well. But a lot of people are suggesting that this could be part or an insight certainly as to the plans for the ongoing heel turn for the Young Bucks. What are your thoughts on that? Now let's switch gears and talk about Survivor Series this weekend, and it looks like this is going to be an immensely successful Survivor Series for WWE. This Saturday's Survivor Series is set to mark WWE's highest ever attendance at the Allstate Arena in Chicago, Illinois, as they have now distributed more tickets for this Saturday's event than they did for WrestleMania 22 in the very same arena back in 2006. A sold-out over 17,200 people are expected, according to WrestleTix. According to the latest report today, the available tickets are currently in double figures, rather. It's only 61 tickets are available. The current setup is for 17,218. As of right now, the tickets distributed are 17,157. It's a big drop since they announced on Monday Night Raw that there was tickets had been opened up, tickets were still available, but it looks like we're going to be going towards a sellout, and again, we're going to have over 17,200 people inside that arena. It had been recently reported that WWE had scaled way back on production, staging, sets, etc. to fit as many people as they possibly could into the building for Chicago's Survivor Series, and it looks like WWE is going to be successful when it comes to that as well. Now, Triple H has been talking about advice he's received from Vince McMahon when it comes to creative. Of course, last year, Vince McMahon stepped down from his position as CEO and chairman of WWE amid allegations of sexual misconduct. For a long time, McMahon had been in charge of the company's creative direction, but that duty was passed down to his son-in-law, Paul Triple H Levesque. Though McMahon later reinstated himself to WWE and was said to be involved in the booking process, that changed again several months ago, with Levesque said to now be firmly in charge of creative planning. Speaking to Sports Illustrated ahead of WWE Survivor Series this weekend, Levesque shared a piece of advice given to him by McMahon that he keeps in his mind while putting together the company shows. Quote, "Vince taught me years ago, you put yourself in the seats and you'll never go wrong," Levesque said. "You've always got to maintain that perspective. I started out as a fan, book what people want to feel and see." Both creatively and financially, WWE, of course, has been on a hot streak as of late. The company, as I mentioned, heads to Chicago this weekend with two highly anticipated War Games matches set for the show, as well as the first-time matchup between Intercontinental Champion Gunther and The Miz, with over 17,000 tickets already being sold for the event. Under the leadership of Levesque, locker room morale is said to have improved dramatically. The former DX leader has brought back some performers that were let go while McMahon was still in charge, such as Chelsea Green, Karrion Kross, and others, with varying degrees of success. Another sign that Levesque is at the helm, the recent reunion of DIY, the tag team consisting of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, I saw a great deal of success during the black and gold era of NXT. What do you think of Triple H's booking? Do you think it's largely responsible for why WWE's having this success right now? Or do you believe that Vince McMahon and his creative ideas, such as the Judgment Day and the Bloodline, laid the foundation for all of this? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Finally, speaking of Survivor Series this weekend, Randy Orton is set to return and he's already got new merchandise. WWE has released new merchandise for Randy Orton ahead of his upcoming return in War Games Games at Survivor Series. On this week's episode of Raw, Cody Rhodes revealed the final member of the babyface War Games team, announcing the return of Randy Orton after 18 months out of action. Orton will team with Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, and Sami Zayn to face the Judgment Day and Drew McIntyre in the match Beyond. Ahead of his upcoming return, WWE has released new merchandise for the Viper, which can be seen on the screen right now. Cody Rhodes has reacted to announcing his former Legacy mentor as the final member of the War Games team. Drew McIntyre also responded by saying, "Hello, darkness, my old friend," when talking about the return of the Apex Predator. But there you go, guys. This latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.